Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Lady Joan Vaughn with Take One Live, Tuesday night's edition for those that are on the go. Thank you for joining me on YouTube, and if you haven't already, just click down there to subscribe. Tonight's segment is I'm a Survivor, 3 tips to help you pack. So tip number 1 is know where you're going and plan for it. How many times have we ever gone somewhere or done something and then realized that we needed something else in that place? Well, it's too late to go back and get it. It's too far away. And then we have to deal with the circumstances of the situation at hand. So if we know where we're going, then we can properly plan to be in that place. I just came back. I was in Chicago, Illinois, the Windy City, Chicago. As you can see, I'm repping Chicago tonight. But I just came back from the Windy City. But when I went to the airport in Philadelphia to go to Chicago, there were people there apparently going to a warmer climate because there was a man, he had on a t-shirt and he had his another shirt wrapped around his waist. His wife had a straw hat on her head. So they weren't going where I was going. They were going to a warmer climate. So it wouldn't make any sense for me to dress like them, knowing where I was going. Chicago, the city that just has 65 degree below zero weather. If I went like that, I would not have been prepared for where I was going. Now, while it is springtime there, as it is here, their weather and climate is quite different. So I needed to prepare for where I was going. So I wore a warm coat. I had heavier clothing on. I had on socks and sneakers because I knew that's where I was going. So the tip number 1, know where you're going and plan for it. Tip number 2, know your current season and prepare for it. So when I was 25 years old, my mother prepared me to launch most of my life. We were survivors. We knew how to make things work. We knew how to be all right wherever we were because she was teaching me how to survive. So when I was 25 years old, I left her house and moved into my own home because she had been preparing me all along for this transition, for this move. She was preparing me in her way. I won't be here forever, and I want you to be okay with the changes that happen in your life. It's similar to what a female eagle does before she begins her family. And while she's choosing a mate, she starts this flight in the air. It's one of the most beautiful things you'll ever see. It's the infinity flight, where the female eagle will fly in a figure 8 in the sky. It is a sign to any of her suitors, anyone that wants to court her, that I am ready to spend my life, the rest of my life, with that special, capable, competent eagle. So she starts her flight, and if there are any suitors that happen to be in the area that want to also start their family with a female eagle to start a family, they'll join the dance. They'll join the infinity flight with her. So once she finds somebody who wants to join her in flight, she begins testing them. The first thing she does, she picks up a branch, a very small branch, and puts it in her beak, and she begins this flight again. And then she drops the branch purposely to see if the suitor can catch it before it reaches the ground. And most of the time they can, because it's not heavy, it's simple. It's something that she's just beginning to test them on. But as time goes on, the level of testing increases and the weight of what she holds is heavier. She can carry something up to her equivalent to her own weight, and she can no longer hold it in her beak. She begins to hold these things in her talons. She holds them in her talons. So she does this flight. Her male suitors see her as she flies her circles get tighter and she goes faster. And then she drops what she's holding to see if the male is capable of picking it up before it hits the ground. Now, if he does not get it before it hits the ground, they just fly away because they know they don't have what it takes. Eagles only have one mate. They are a one mate bird. So once she finds this person, once she finds this eagle who would try or who would attempt to go through all these battery of testing that she puts them through, once they have passed all of her tests, then she is ready to begin her family with this eagle because she knows now he can handle me and he'll be able to handle the weight of a family as well. That's a good lesson to know. And they're smarter than we are a lot of times because we don't test a person enough before we click up with them. We don't put them through enough tests to know if they can handle the weight of life with me, or that they can handle the weight of life with children or bills or circumstances or death or whatever happens to come into the relationship. So once it's established, once the two eagles have come together and they begin to have eaglets, and these eaglets need to eat. So the mother will stay with the eaglets and the father will go find the food, and they will switch it. After a while, the father will come and keep them warm while she goes out and gets food. The nest can be up to a ton. They lay it with mud and big branches and leaves and hay and whatever they can find to keep their family warm. But there comes a time that the eaglets get too big for the nest, and the mother will no longer make it comfortable for the eaglets because it's time for them to launch. Now, we are talking about point number 2, know your current season and prepare. So what the mother will do is begin to put her eaglets to the test. She goes out, she no longer gets hay. She no longer gets the comfortable, cushy, soft things for them to lay in. You know what she gets? She starts getting jagged rocks and tin and sharp things, not to hurt them. And you may think that's cruel, and it's not. You may think that's unreasonable. Absolutely not. But this nest is meant to mate again. So the ones that are there have to use their wings to fly, and it's time for them to move on and to launch and begin their own families. So that's what she does. But the father, what he will do, he will take the eaglets at the appointed time up as high as he thinks the eaglets can handle it, and he will drop them in midair. Again, you may think that's cruel and unreasonable. You may not even agree with this way of training. However, the father, he drops them right in midair. And then he watches from afar to see if they will use their potential, use the wings that they have been born with, use the two things that God gave them himself when he created them. The father wants to see if they will use their wings. So he'll let them flounder through the air and discover these wings that are on the side of their body. What are these things for? And if he sees them not able to use their wings, and he sees them getting a little close to the ground, he'll swoop under the eaglet and put them on his back in his feathers and take them back up to the highest point that he feels like they can handle. And guess what he does? He drops them again, because you have to pass the test. There's no way that you can go on to your next level, to your next dimension, to your next assignment, unless you've passed the test. So Father takes them back up, and guess what he does? He doesn't take them home. He does it again. He drops them again. And he will do this until they have discovered that they have wings of their own. And once he sees that they are comfortable with their wings and they fly on their own, he's okay with it, and they never return to the nest again. And then number 3, know when your season is over and perfect it. So knowing that it's over, and perfect it or tweak it. Because what doesn't work anymore, it doesn't make any sense to continue to do. If it doesn't work where you are right now, doesn't work for you anymore, then leave it and move on. Learn the lessons from the season you were in, move on, and start something different. Now, my favorite show growing up was Gilligan's Island. I love the Brady Bunch. Listen, I'm a 70s baby, so I'm with it. But my favorite show was Gilligan's Island. That was my favorite show. And my favorite character on Gilligan's Island was Ginger. Yes, Ginger had pearls. Ginger had fur coats. She had rollers. She had lipstick, and she had raincoats. She had heels. She had kitty heels, and she had pantyhose. And she had everything, more than what we think that she would need. Ginger was prepared for whatever the weather. It was only a 3-hour tour, but Ginger's mentality was, you're not going to catch me out here unprepared. So that's what I took from it. So Ginger, no matter what the season was, if it was too cold, she put her fur on. If it was rainy, she put her raincoat on and put her umbrella up. If it was evening and she wanted to go sit by the shore side, she'd put a lipstick on. If she felt like it, she'd roll her hair the night before and come out with these bouncy curls. Ginger was prepared. And that's what I'm saying. Know when your season is over and perfect where you are so you can keep moving. I found a scripture in Philippians 4:11 and 12 in the Message Bible. I'm going to read it to you. It says, actually, I do not have a sense of needing anything personally. That's what Paul said. I have learned by now to be quite content, whatever my circumstances. I'm just as happy with little as I am with much, and happy with much as I am with little. I have found the recipe for being happy, whether full or hungry, whether hands full or hands empty. So he learned the recipe for contentment, but it comes first with being prepared. And guess what? After all of that, you couldn't tell me. You could not tell me that Gilligan's Island was not a real place. And after all of that, guess who's still here? Ginger. Ginger is still in real time, in real life today. Ginger is still alive today, 2019. She's still alive. You know why? Because she knew how to pack. Don't forget to subscribe down below and tell people to come and be encouraged and uplifted for your week. This is revised version for Tuesday nights for those on the go. Remember that whenever you need a break, just take one. Peace. See you Tuesday.